Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to Fountain Pen Day. Now I had pre-recorded this particular video about one of my favorite pen makers, and I was thinking about what I would do today to celebrate Fountain Pen Day, which by the way is just whoever the individual, I know I was reading about it, the individual who invented or started that should be really applauded. And my contribution, if you will, is to share with you the passion that I have for my favorite pen maker, which is the Delta Pen Company, and as it was, more particularly, and as hopefully it will be under new ownership, etc., etc. I think that it's not at the same level yet, but little steps. It's Delta was for me a Neapolitan strong and viable enterprise, and it just was a pity that it had to cease its operations. But its pens are still out there. The passion and the artistry is still out there, and now with the new owners, hopefully it will continue. So that is my contribution, and I just wanted to preface my video with which was filmed and videotaped some time ago, and not it doesn't even mention Fountain Pen Day, as you will see. So I thought I'd introduce it by this short introduction. Folks, enjoy your day today. It's a special day. I know I've taken a day off from the office. I'm going to do nothing but fountain pens today. I'm going to write. I'm going to ink. I'm going to swatch. I'm going to look at my journal collection, notebooks, put things in order, and you know what? Enjoy it. So enjoy it, folks. Enjoy it, folks. It's fountain pen therapy for all of us. Stay tuned for my video. Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici. Welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, Fountain Pen Therapy. I have just a beautiful pen for you folks. As you know, I'm very biased towards Italian pens, and more particularly Neapolitan pens, because I was born there. And several Delta pens that I have in my collection are my prizes, if you will. Okay, to me, Delta is the best fountain pen maker in the world. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. And hopefully I will demonstrate that to you with this particular review. However, their pens, especially some of the older vintage pens, if you can find them, are extremely expensive. So I'm almost on a daily basis looking out for deals. Since Delta has been back, what's happened is that they've taken old resin bars in the Delta archives, or even machined rods that hadn't been quite completed and assembled into pens. They bought all that inventory. And what's happening now is some of these pens the parts are being recovered, they're being polished, cleaned up, reassembled, and so you're getting what they refer to as new old stock of classic Delta pens on the market for extremely low prices, in my view. And this one that I'm going to be reviewing today hopefully will demonstrate to you that it is worth your while to constantly surf, and I will give you a couple of sites, and you may be surprised. One day it will pop up. You've got to go quickly, and for a reasonable price you can pick up some of these Delta gems. So does this pen live up to expectations? Well, stay tuned and let's find out. Okay, we're back with the pen. This is the box that it came in. It's pretty well the kind of, kind of standard paper cardboard box that the other box comes into these days. In the old days, of a very elaborate packaging, huge boxes. Sometimes inks would be included. All kinds of novel ways of packaging pens. You don't see that in the new Delta, if you will. They're a lot simpler. Although this is the first time I've seen this kind of cover, I must admit, which is, it's kind of a crocodile skin cardboard imitation, if you will. So there you have it. Delta Italy since 1982. Very nice box. Simple. Some just instructions on how to fill your pens. Okay. Then you have your warranty card. So that's pretty standard. And there is your pen. As you can see, very, very simple and almost... I haven't spent a lot of money on that packaging, that's for sure. It's cardboard. The old days, it was much more complex and a lot more elaborate. But you know what? I don't need a $200 box. Let's just stick to the pen, if you will. So here's the pen. And this is the Delta. It's from the Delta Gallery collection. And there's a few Delta galleries. It's essentially Dolce Vita. With different resins, okay? But it's the same style, same design as the Dolce Vita, which is the famous, the orange pumpkin pen, as one reviewer liked to call it. So this is the outside, classic Dolce Vita design. You have the Delta, just a Delta knob there with the Delta logo on the finial, if you will. Let me just open up one light so you could see this a lot better. There we go. Then we have the classic clip that I've been told is not a Delta invention. But there it is. It's a roller type, so it's springy, very functional. You've got that beautiful silver band. That's sterling silver engraved, kind of a antique Roman motif, if you will. And you've got a ring here, and you've got the ring there. Now, what I'd like to show you in terms of design and quality. First of all, this ring here, the way it's machined, it's just, smooth. The clip ring is smooth. The resin is smooth. That, just to get that little knob there, okay, or just that tip, silver finial, it's just it takes some doing. Then they give you a sterling silver center band, okay? They give you a functional clip, rhodium finish. The overall quality of the resin, take a look at that resin. It's just exquisite, okay? But more importantly, well, we'll get to that in a second. If I just keep going, it's a unique color mix, if you will. It's polished to perfection. The inscription carved into the... Now, let me just see if my pen will pick... My camera will pick this up. Right here, you have inscribed, first of all, the number, okay, and the camera unfortunately is not picking it up, but yeah, there it is. So it's 1672. You have here inscribed Delta Italy, and on top there, I'm not sure you see that, is gallery. Okay, so that's a nice touch. Okay, very subtle, but it's engraved into the cap, if you will. Now, the piston knob. Take a look at this piston knob. First of all, it comes off, okay? And the piston knob is underneath, so that when you post the pen, it doesn't turn the knob and create a mess. Okay, the knob is underneath. So there you look at the thickness of that resin. You know what I'm saying? Very complex. Okay, and look at that metal insert. Okay, metal screwing. So it's not plastic on metal or metal on plastic. It's metal on metal. Then take a look at that piston knob, how thick and complex it is. You know, as much as I love Chinese pens, I mean, you know, the knob is underneath here and you can hardly see it, and it's plasticky, etc., etc. So there is a difference. And just take a look at the quality there of that piston knob. Okay, so let me just close that up again. Let's open this pen up. One. So it's one turn. One, just slightly beyond one. There's the ink window, and of course the piston knob works this way and that way. And when it reaches, I believe, you know, you're at the end. Isn't that? You don't have that in other Chinese piston knob fillers. You got the nice ink window, and it's orange, you know, matching a little bit the design of the pen. Okay, we'll get to see that in a second. In the cap, first of all, take a look at the thickness of that resin. Isn't that? I mean, it's to be appreciated. That's why it makes these pens what I believe are some of the best pens in the market. Now, you can see there is a sealing mechanism there, or a sealing design, so that the pen seals and doesn't dry up on you. Okay, the thickness I mentioned, so that's the cap. The nibs are maybe, with this new Delta, the nibs are maybe, I wouldn't say the weak spot, because it is a Yowo nib. So these Yowo nibs are very, very functional, very nice. And you can get them either in gold or steel. You can get them all kinds, even flex. It's a little bit like Leonardo, okay? So these are the go-to nibs now for Delta. In the old days, they had that fusion nib. They had some, you know, their own in-house nibs, I believe, whereas we don't have that. But that's fine. These nibs are perfectly functional. And again, I'm not a great believer in gold nibs, so if I can save $200, sometimes more, I'm fine with that. So that's a Yowo nib unit, can be exchanged, unscrewed to clean the pen up. So, you know, the threads here are very, very smooth. You can hardly feel the threads at all. Is it comfortable? It's a huge, very girthy pen, just slightly flared here. I think it's perfect, in my opinion, at least for my hands, and I have big hands. Does it post? Yes, it does. It posts, I think, a little back-weighted, and it goes beyond here, if you will. So there is a little bit of back weight, but those of you who absolutely need to post your pens, well, certainly not a problem here. Now, that's the design and features of this pen. Give me a few seconds. We'll come back with a pen comparison. Okay, so we're back with just a pen comparison. I've chosen some just gorgeous pens, folks, to give you this comparison. First of all, you could see this is the Delta Gallery, the subject pen. This is the Delta Gallery Blue Moon, which is, I would say, identical, except for the resin. Okay, This is the new or the Dolce Vita DV, so that's 2.0 Dolce Vita. This is a Marta Modena Dolce Vita. Marta Modena at one point, when Delta kind of shut down, got permission to kind of use its Delta's designs and even some of its parts, and it purchased at a discount with the agreement that it wouldn't sell its pens in Italy, I believe it was. So I've got several Marta Modena pens. Now you could tell, for example, the center, is basically the same idea, if you will, but you got here it's the M instead of the Delta. You have Marta Modena. It's not etched. It's just laser, I guess. And look at that center band is very, very, very simple. It's not engraved and it's not sterling silver, but it's got this. It's got the resin. It's got the resin. So I've got several of these Dolce Vitas at very reasonable prices, and I don't regret one bit. This is the new Mayora Amalfi, and this is the Delta Amalfi Magnifica, one of my favorite pens. Made out of olive tree wood from Amalfi. There's the blue for the sea. There's all kinds of symbols on it, and I've reviewed this pen. So, in fact, I've reviewed all these pens, so you can check out my reviews if you're interested. So that's the capped, and here are the pens uncapped and unposted. As you can see, the Dolce Vita, the version 2, just slightly bigger than these, but they don't have it. It doesn't have the same girth, I would say. This is my Marta Modena, which is probably the equivalent of the Federico Dolce Vita, the orange pumpkin pen, but medium-sized, I would say. Then you have my Mayora Amalfi, and you can see it's virtually identical in terms of size, just a little bit less girth. And here is my Delta Amalfi Magnifica with that fusion nib, the Delta fusion nib that they used to use and manufacture, in-house nib Delta had when they were still in business. There you have it. And here you have the pens posted. And I would say that these first four, which appear to be the longest posted, is because they're not the deepest posters, if there's such a word. Whereas the Mayora and the Amalfi Delta do post a little bit more deeply, and that explains in certain ways why they appear to be shorter. But they are more comfortable, I would say. So there you have the pens posted. We'll put up some measurements, and I'm just dying to show you the writing sample. Thank you. Okay, so now we're back for the writing sample. First of all, the ink. Well, the ink that I'm going to be using is going to be this Glue-On from Colorverse. It's kind of a greenish, and it's got a little bit of orange and yellow in it, which I think is going to be a great, should be a good match with this pen. Just to give you an idea of what the swatch looks like, here you go. It's this one right here. So, that's probably that and the Vinta Sandugo, but that's a really messy ink. I didn't want to put it in this pen. It's probably the closest that I've come to. So there you have it. Colorverse Glue-On. Let's see what gives. The notebook. Well, I'm just thought I'd give this review kind of an Italian flavor. So I'm gonna use this Fabiano notebook. I have never used Fabiano before. I've heard some good things about it, and I've heard some bad things about it. So we will try it. If I don't like it, I'm going to switch to my go-to notebook, which is the Tomo River. Okay, folks. Okay, so let's see what this Fabiano notebook can do for us here. Okay, let me just Okay, 1 second. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Here we go. So this is the Delta Gallery. Now, I don't know how to describe it. They don't really give it a name. You know, the other one was the Delta Gallery Blue Moon. But this one doesn't have a name per se, so I'm just going to put green and yellow. That's what I've been using all along. Okay, and the nib is a Yo steel number 6. 1.1 with the Delta branding. Okay, the ink that we are using today is the Colorverse Glue On. Now, on this Fabiano paper, so far not bad. I got to tell you, I'm very pleased with this paper. I thought I had heard all kinds of nightmares. So far so good. I'm not sure it brings out all of the sheen and the shading of that ink, but it's starting to. We'll see what happens when it dries up. In any event, here we go. In terms of the wetness test, very wet. Okay, so very constant nib, not a problem at all. It does give me the line variation that I'm looking for. Okay, fast writing. Not a problem keeping up. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so the nib is very wet. Very smooth. Very smooth. I just here, see, I need to smoothen that out right there. In fact, let me just see if I have my micro mesh here. There we go. It's done. Okay, very smooth and constant. Now, what do I like about it? And what do I dislike about this pen? Like, what I notice is on this paper, the feedback is substantial. So it's not the nib, it's the paper. It really is the paper. The paper talks to you. The like is, first of all, the design, the build quality is just, you know, the trimmings, the piston filler, everything that I've talked about. Now, what don't I like about it? Well, I wish the Delta had their own nibs. Just like Officina Italiana using, there's nothing wrong with Yo nibs, far from it. Especially you can get all kinds, and it's pretty standard nib unit, and there's all kinds of advantages. But I don't know. I'm a little bit nostalgic. I know those fusion nibs didn't. Not everybody, you know, they weren't liked by everybody. but I wish they had their own nibs. The only other thing is that I noticed this piston filler cap comes loose quite often, especially when you post the pen. So it could be troublesome. It just easily comes off. So piston knob is something that I would improve on. Piston cap, if you will. But other than that, folks, value, now here it is. I purchased this pen on the site called Giardino Italiano. That's a site that I would visit weekly if you want some interesting Italian pens, and sometimes they're discounted. The other side is called Novelli. I think it's Novelli Pens. And sometimes they have novelties from Mayora, Gioia, from Delta that come out first there before they come out elsewhere. So those are two sites that I will look at. The value here, I paid this pen, well, I don't know what it translates, but it was 155 euros at the time. So it's about 155 US, Canadian, you're looking at 210, 220. But at that price, wow, excellent value for a pen like this. So there you have it. I'm signing it. I hope you enjoyed this review. I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. Oh yeah, that ink really matches this pen, I got to tell you. And you know what? I was thinking about it. You know, it's autumn, and these are beautiful autumn colors. Very nice autumn colors. Even I would say Halloween colors. So it's kind of, you know, it's October 31st, October 30th, I should say today. It's Halloween tomorrow. Autumn is settled in here in Montreal, Canada. We actually this morning, I was terrified. I saw the first snowflakes. It didn't last long, but I did see them. So, winter is around the corner. My golf season ended on Saturday. Club is closed. That's it. So we're going to enjoy our pens. Thank you very, very much for joining me. Grazie molto e arrivederci.